False Homes. I Spy Monster Agency. The Head of Anubis. It was a dreary sort of day, the kind made for dozing on the couch. Did your parents say the park is closed? It's not. They're just too lazy to take you. Not that I would ever call your parents lazy. And that's exactly what the residents of Appleton, England were doing in their cosy little homes, napping. But there was one house that was anything but sleepy. In fact, today, it was downright lively. Sprawling, peeling, and crumbling like a cookie, this particular house, or I should say mansion, did nothing to endear itself to the neighbours. I saw a spider, as big as a hubcap, walking up the front path. Cool as you please, said Mrs. Next Door, eyeing the cobweb-shrouded door with a shudder. That's nothing, replied Mrs. Across the Street. Yesterday, a statue, ugly thing with horns, fell right off the roof. She didn't mention that she'd distinctly heard it say, That's the last time I let Bob help me fix the chimney. The amount of energy grown-ups spend pretending that monsters don't exist is truly astonishing. Makes you wonder what kind of people would live there, Mr. Down the Road added. Of course, people wouldn't, and didn't live there. The members of the London MLM did. And at that very moment, they, unlike their nosy neighbours, were very busy indeed. In the kitchen, Wilhelmina, the resident witch, was sweating over a cauldron, the contents of which smelled faintly of sage. In the attic, the operatic ghost Figaro was practising his scales to the dulcet tones of a xylophone made of crocodile teeth. In the tallest tower, Dracula, that most infamous vampire, was pacing beneath a fluttering cloud of bats, a letter bearing the initials HQ clutched in his cold, bloodless hands. But it is in the ancient curse-breaking room that our story begins. The ancient curse-breaking room was rather spooky, even for a haunted mansion. The cavernous chamber called to mind a vast gilded cave. The windowless walls were etched with Egyptian hieroglyphics and dotted with weapons, while dozens of painted sarcophagi lined the perimeter. A towering stone jaguar took up one corner, occasionally letting out a tremendous roar whenever he felt things were getting a bit too quiet. In another, Mummy the Mummy was working at a desk made from the curved tusks of a woolly mammoth. Sitting beside her was a 10-year-old girl with grass-green eyes and curly red hair in want of brushing. Theodora Hendrix, of course. Theodora was the reason the MLM was under investigation in the first place. When the monsters found her abandoned in a graveyard and adopted her some 10 years previously, they'd broken headquarters rule number 1. Keep monsters hidden from humans. They got away with it, too, until a hag named Hilda had threatened to reveal their secret. The London MLM had no choice but to take matters into their own hands and had reported themselves to headquarters. Luckily, headquarters hadn't punished them, reasoning that while the monsters had broken the first rule, they had upheld rule number 2, protect humans from bad monsters. However, they wanted to be certain that there was no pattern of rule-breaking, hence the inspector's imminent arrival. At the moment, Theodora wasn't concerned about the inspector, nor her investigation. She was concerned about the scary, no, frightening, no, horrifying sight before her. I suggest skipping ahead a few pages if you're squeamish. On the desk stood a clay figurine with the head of a jackal and the body of a man. It was 25 centimetres tall, and its eyes were aglow, a stream of emerald smoke pouring from its mouth. "Who dares to disturb me?" demanded the little statue. The tiny hairs on the back of Theodora's neck stood on end. The figurine's mouth hadn't moved. Despite this, its voice was booming, as if 10 voices were speaking instead of one. "Who dares to disturb me?" the statue repeated menacingly. Mummy straightened, carefully tucking a loose strand of bandage behind her ear. "It is I, Mummy, begging your pardon, Anubis."